All right, then. Let's begin. I believe we are aware of the instruction. So you can do it directly or you can do it and send it. So we start now.
Please, I can't see anything again. Oh.
Hello. Wait, the questions have disappeared. Though. Hello.
Doc has even left.
Was this not the same questions we did last week?
Well, maybe if the same, he wants to change. So,
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same questions we did last week because I read number 1 and 2. They are all the same like the one we did last week.
Yeah, I think the same unit too.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Hello.
I had a power situation and I had to go. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Um, hmm. We were on question what? Question 4, right?
Doctor, please, this is the unit 2 questions again. No?
This is unit 2.
Yes, please. The one you started was the unit 2 questions we did last time.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me. Oh, okay. Hmm. Okay. Please let's start. Let's do just 15 minutes. Our time is fast gone, so we'll do just 15 minutes. So try to be fast. Yes. I believe you can see the screen now.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So start. Okay, so that is the end of the test. Let's look at what we have to do today. Kindly send me your work right away. We have about 4 minutes to do the 15 minutes, so we did it under 15. Okay. I have received from just a person. Only Della has submitted his work. The rest of us, please. We're supposed to work on our phone and forward it as soon as we are done. And that's just what Della did. So why are you not submitting? Any particular reason? Is anyone who submitted his work that did not receive any response last week? Three students so far. Friends, your work is incomplete.
Yes, network
They
challenge.
start from 10 to 20.
So, uh, so I was having challenges with when I returned. You were at number 10. That is why I'm starting from 10.
Okay. All right. So only 3 people have submitted. The rest, I don't know whether you didn't do it or. Okay. Let's continue. We are now looking at our last unit, curriculum implementation and evaluation. We will get to understand what is meant by curriculum implementation. We also discuss the key roles of stakeholders involved in curriculum implementation. We'll talk about the differences between adoption and enaction as far as curriculum implementation is concerned. We also talk about formative and summative evaluation of curriculum. So let's go straight and look at it. When we talk about the implementation of curriculum, we are simply putting the theory, that is the curriculum, which has been documented into action. or we are converting it into practice. So the official curriculum, as has been developed, in this case in Ghana, NACA is responsible for development of the curriculum. So the curriculum is planned and we know what is in the curriculum. We need to implement it. And here, the curriculum is implemented in schools. And this process involves helping the learner, who is the student, to acquire the knowledge or the experience as captured in the content of the curriculum. So the learner is the receiver of the curriculum. Here, the learner is the one who will acquire this knowledge and the experience. And the curriculum is made up of the knowledge that the learner is supposed to acquire, the skills that the learner is supposed to demonstrate, the attitudinal changes we expect from the learner, values that we expect the learner to acquire, normally the ethical values and other values that we expect the learner to acquire, so that the learner will function effectively in the society in which he or she is found. So we are going to put the curriculum into practice, or we are going to operationalize the curriculum. There must be an agent of the implementation who is going to make sure that the learner acquire the knowledge, skills, the attitudes, and the values that the curriculum contains. So Stenhouse identifies the teacher as the agent when it comes to implementation of the curriculum. So here, to look at the curriculum implementation, we will say that this therefore refers to how the plan officially designed course of study is translated by the teacher, who is the agent. And the teacher here will convert the curriculum into syllabus. In some jurisdictions, the syllabus is developed by the school. And in this case, the teachers will prepare the syllabus. They have the scheme of work, and then they will prepare the lesson, or they will plan the lesson. So fundamentally, that is what the curriculum will be implemented. And the teacher and the student is the receiver. Also, according to Austin and Hankins, implementation requires educators to shift from the current program, which they are familiar with, to the new or modified program. So curriculum implementation does not necessarily mean that we didn't have curriculum at all. There was an existing curriculum. And so we usually, instead of saying new curriculum, we actually refer to it as curriculum review or curriculum change. Okay. So normally we do review. If you look at the current curriculum, the new curriculum, accounting or business studies curriculum. It is a review of the curriculum. You will see that the content is almost the same as what used to be. And there wouldn't be any significant change in the content that they will be assessed on even during external examination. So it is normally the review of the curriculum, and it comes with some changes, not entirely. However, there is still a change, and therefore educators, teachers are supposed to familiarize themselves with the new curriculum so that they do not, use the same methods or look at the new curriculum as if it is the old one. When you come to the new curriculum, there are some terms that are different from the old one. When teachers are being trained through workshop to get familiar with the new one, they tend to say that this is just like the old one. There are no changes. Oh, you say we shouldn't use less objectives, but we should use learning outcome. There's no difference. That's what they will say. But there are differences. So here we are saying that, for example, if you are talking about learning outcome and objective of the lesson, objective, you look at things from the viewpoint of the teacher. So the teacher has an objective that he wants to achieve. But learning outcome looks at it from the point of the student. The student is supposed to, or is expected to demonstrate certain skills after the lesson has taken place. So we are looking at it from the point of view of the student. Even though it looks like they are achieving the same thing, but if a teacher says he or she should be able to teach something, it means the teacher is able to cover the topic. He may say, I've achieved my goal. But if you say the learning outcome, you expected that the learners will demonstrate it. If you teach and the learners are unable to demonstrate the objective that you have stated, you haven't achieved your objective. So the implementation can be seen as a process of professional development. Yes. So you were already skilled in teaching, in delivering lessons when the old curriculum was there. Now there is a change in curriculum. And so that change, if you familiarize yourself with that, it simply means that you are developing yourself professionally. Now you have acquired new knowledge, you have acquired new skills, and you are going to develop new attitude for implementing the new curriculum. So it is a form of training, and that training will result in professional development. And there will be growth because that ongoing interactions, feedback, and assistance, which usually happen at the SHS level as the new curriculum is implemented, will help enhance the teacher's competencies in teaching. Implementation is a process also of clarification whereby individuals and groups come to understand and practice a change in attitudes and behavior, often involving using new resources. So it is also a process of clarifying. So you clarify. Since the groups come together, you try to understand and practice. And that is exactly what is happening in the new curriculum as introduced in SHS. Implementation involves change. So there are changes which requires effort and will produce a certain amount of anxiety. And also to minimize these, it's useful to organize implementation into manageable event and to set achievable goals. Yes. So when it comes to implementing a new curriculum, you need to put in effort to familiarize yourself with the new curriculum. Okay. And there are challenges because people are supposed to learn new things. Anxiety will set in. Sometimes teachers may feel they do not qualify to implement the curriculum because they did not take part in the workshop. So usually, some teachers who have the power to decide who teaches in the new curriculum will push their colleague teachers to go and teach the new curriculum. So head HODs, for example, they may not want to start. They will ask other teachers to go and take Form 1 account in new curriculum, especially if they don't feel so confident that they can handle it. So you need to put in the effort, and it comes with anxiety. So to minimize this, it is very, very important to organize the implementation to manageable event. So it means that the new curriculum, as we implement, you don't expect that the teachers will go to the classroom and excel the new curriculum. But you must also give them the opportunity and also not introduce everything at the same one time. So if you look at the new curriculum, after the teachers had gone to the workshop and everything, now they went for another workshop on assessment. Okay. So once they implement the curriculum, they are learning about the assessment strategies and they are implementing it little by little, gradually. Also, you see that the curriculum does not start with the entire the whole level, all the levels. It begins from, let's say, Form 1. So the Form 1's experience, and then as you move on, the additions will be included. And then we will now be moving to the holistic implementation. So I hear teachers went for another workshop and they will still be looking at the curriculum, Form 2 curriculum for the programs. And then they'll move on next academic year. The next time they'll look at something else until the curriculum is fully operationalized across all the levels. 6, implementation requires a supportive atmosphere in which there is trust and open communication between administrators, teachers, educators, and where risk-taking is encouraged. Yes. When the new curriculum, for example, was initiated in the schools for implementation, teachers had a lot of things to say, especially with regards to resources. The curriculum actually talks about ICT, it talks about collaborative learning, grouping students, which we know takes a lot of time. And by culture and nature of students we have, they don't really express themselves. So it becomes challenging if you want to implement collaborative teaching strategies, okay, or student-centered approaches in the classroom. So we need to support the teacher and guide the teacher to be able to have confidence in implementing the curriculum as has been given to the teacher. Now, according to Saracen, the main reason for the failure of curriculum implementation is the lack of understanding of the culture of the school by both experts outside the school system and educators in the system. So this is also very, very true when it comes to implementing the curriculum. The curriculum is implemented, teachers are involved, all right, but the reality on the ground is not fully taken into consideration when the curriculum is being implemented. The issue is that in Ghana, for instance, we do not have uniform educational categorization. For instance, we have grouped our senior high schools into categories, with category A student or category A schools having more facilities and more high ability students. Okay, whilst the category C school has less ability students, even sometimes less ability teachers. Okay, because if you take a category A school, they don't normally send fresh from university graduates to such schools. They usually get experienced teachers because their transfer guideline is very stringent. And so teachers may sometimes have to even write exams or go for interviews. So if you don't have confidence in yourself that you'll be able to pass the rigorous interview or the exams, and you don't want to be embarrassed, you may not have the interest in teaching in such schools. So only experienced teachers are usually found there. Sometimes if you have not been in the system for long, you wouldn't even try to seek transfer to such schools. So you get category A schools having teachers who are more experienced. Student, it is category A school because it is the most sought after schools. It is student choice. Students want to go there, and therefore they are able to determine the grade levels that they will accept. So you get high ability students going there. The environment, they have teacher and learning resources as compared with category C schools. So these, if the curriculum developers, the experts in the curriculum, do not take into consideration the environment that exists in the various category of schools, and they come up with a uniform kind of implementation, you realize that those in category C school, where learners cannot even express themselves in the very official language in which they have been taught from kindergarten up to now, and they prefer teachers teach in their local languages. Then, if you are asking a teacher in category C school to implement learner-centered curriculum, it will be difficult because the learners cannot express themselves in English language. In accounting, we have our language, the subject language. We usually say accounting is the language of business. So we cannot be converting the accounting languages into Chi or local languages. The learner must learn to grasp the accounting language. Okay, so that is one of the problems. So it is a uniform curriculum for all of us, but some people can implement it better because of the circumstances, the environment where they are found. So if category 6 teacher will now go back and resort to the old system, because it will be near impossible to implement such curriculum in their classrooms. Then successful implementation of curriculum requires understanding the power relationships, the traditions, the roles and responsibilities of individuals in the school system. Yes, if the curriculum will be successful, we have to look at the power relationship that exists in the environment where the curriculum is implemented. So in the school, for example, this new curriculum requires learning such issue as JC, gender issues. So gender, in our traditions, boys are not the same as girls. So now the curriculum is saying that treat boys and girls equally. Don't say that girls are supposed to sweep in the morning and they didn't sweep, so they will be punished. While boys and girls can both sweep. That is what the new curriculum is saying. The new curriculum is saying that the learner has a voice. The learner may disagree with you on what you say in the classroom, and there shouldn't be a problem. But our tradition does not support that. You don't challenge adult. You don't disagree with an adult. So learners may disagree with you. You may be committing some errors, but the learner is supposed to be quiet traditionally. But the new curriculum expects that you empower the learner to be able to debate you even in the classroom. Okay, so if we don't look at the power relationship, student-teacher-student relationship, what is the power? Teacher has more power than the student, and that creates some kind of relationship in the school. So if you don't take that into consideration, the curriculum may not be successful. If you understand that and you implement it well, the curriculum will succeed. They must be clear of the purpose, the nature, and the real and potential benefit of the innovation. Yes, the new curriculum is an innovation. It's a new way of doing things. So the purpose must be clear. The teachers must clearly understand the overall aim of this curriculum. What do we expect at the end of the senior high school for the accounting or business studies student to become? Okay, what do we want from them, learners? It should be clear to the teachers. And that should be different from what exists now. If what exists is helping us achieve the same purpose, then maybe it is not necessary. They will still stick to the old system. Then the nature, how the curriculum looks like, how it has been structured, it must be clear to the teacher. And the real and potential benefit. What are the real benefits of this curriculum implementation? And what are the potential benefits? So we look at that. That must also be clear to the implementers of the curriculum. Then as stated, by effective implementation of innovations requires what? Time. So for the curriculum to be well understood and effectively implemented in the classroom, give teachers some time. So for now, we cannot conduct any study and say we want to look at the effectiveness of the curriculum. we want to evaluate. We can't evaluate the program until the program has run its full course. So we cannot go and evaluate the implementation of the curriculum, because the implementation itself is being done gradually. So personal interaction and contact. It requires time, personal interactions and contact, yes. So it will take time. And NACA must interact, okay, in the process. So teachers go for PLC, Professional Learning Community, and these NACA representatives or National Teaching Council representatives come to observe what is happening. From time to time, they go to classrooms to supervise and see in real time how the new curriculum is being implemented in classrooms. Then, training, in-service training, which is also going on in schools. Then other forms of people-based support. So where teachers need support, they should be provided as far as the implementation of the curriculum is concerned. And it is when we're able to do all these things effectively that we can say that the curriculum implementation is effective. Then curriculum implementation requires winning people over, and basically it takes time. So you win over the teachers to implement it the way you want them to implement it, and that will take some time. So be patient with them. So this is not a time as a supervisor of the new curriculum to go and have, some kind of argument with teachers about the implementation. It will take time. So you provide support, encouragement, motivation, so that they will implement the curriculum effectively. So yes, they need to be appreciated and recognize their effort. Curriculum implementation as a change process. Curriculum implementation is bringing about change, yes, and hopefully improvement. If we are implementing a curriculum and we are not expecting any change, we are not expecting any improvement, then that curriculum is of no use. It is better not to implement it at all. How do you bring about change? According to Kurt Lewin, change, Kurt Lewin says that all persons are faced with two competing forces. What are they? We have driving forces and we have restraining forces. Between the driving forces and the restraining forces is equilibrium. Now, the driving forces are those forces that will push the implementer to do something and change in a particular direction, which means that the teacher, there's some driving forces that pushes or influence the teacher to enforce the curriculum as it has been given to him. So that will result in the change and it will keep the curriculum implementation going to the right direction, going in the right direction. But restraining forces are those forces that will also influence or prevent the teacher from doing what he has to do and to bring about change. So it is not as if that the teacher will have a smooth sail in implementing the curriculum. There are other forces that may inhibit the implementation. So whilst the teacher is influenced by some forces and he's restrained by certain forces also, these two forces will meet at a point, and that becomes the equilibrium. And the equilibrium, so where these two forces are equal, then it means that the status quo is maintained. Okay, so we reach an equilibrium. There's a diagram for this, but I don't have it here. Let's move on. I'll just explain it to you. It's just two arrows, one coming from the left, one coming from the right, and they meet at a point. So horizontal arrows, one from the left to right, they meet. In the middle, we say it's equilibrium. On the left-hand side, we have the driving forces. And on the right-hand side, we have the restraining forces. So whilst the teacher, the curriculum is being implemented, there are other factors that will restrain the effective implementation. In the long run, the curriculum will be implemented, will reach an equilibrium, a point where the force, the driving force, and the restraining force will meet. So it means that the driving force will not continue. It will end at a point. And it is ending because there are restraining forces, which is restricting its movement. Lewin emphasized that to bring about change, it is better to reduce the power of the restraining forces rather than increase the driving forces. Okay. This has been termed as unfreezing, whereby the powers of the restraining forces are decreased to stimulate the driving forces. If there is fear among teachers that they will not have the know-how to implement change, it is best that they be trained before implementing the new ideas. This simply means there is motivation. Like we can say motivation and what? Barriers. So the forces, the motivation, it is not just only about motivation, it goes beyond motivation. Training is part. So if you are motivated to do something, there's a driving force. But at the same time, there could be barriers that will confront your motivation. Okay, so what Lewin is saying that when the barriers meet the motivation, it is better for us to reduce the barriers. It is better to reduce the barriers than to increase the motivation. Okay, because several motivation theories. For example, if you think that the new curriculum, let's increase teachers' salary so that they will implement the curriculum well. This kind of external motivation is short-lived. It's in the beginning may have some effect, but it will die, the motivation will die off. Okay. But if you reduce the barriers, then that sustained motivation can push things forward. And one of the barriers is if the teacher feels he or she is not competent enough, or he is not confident in his abilities. So the best thing to do is to do what? Remove the barrier, which is make the teacher more competent, train the teacher so that he becomes more competent. Other than that, if you say you are giving the teacher money, he's still not competent and will not be able to implement the curriculum. Now, curriculum implementation, as defined by Fulan, is the process of putting a change into practice. So, the new curriculum, we say new because there are changes in it. You need to put that change into practice. The process ranges from the use of formative evaluation devices such as try out and field trial to the actual large scale and final open use of the program. So here the curriculum is piloted. That's a try out. Then we field try it to see before the whole country it is implemented across the nation. Okay, so it doesn't just come, we have new curriculum and then the whole country is practicing it. We try it with a small community and then we open it in the field. Some schools will be having it in the country, selected places across the country. Then when we see that, okay, it can work effectively, it can work, then we implement it across the nation. That is the large-scale implementation. Now, there are three main approaches to curriculum implementation. Three main approaches. And they are fidelity. Some people say fidelity. Then, fidelity also means faithful implementation. Faithfully, you are implementing it faithfully. Just as it has been given to you, you are implementing it like that. And in Ghana, it appears that is how we implement our curriculum. NACA brings it, teachers implement it just as it has been given to them. They don't attempt to change it, and they are not expected to change it. Then we have mutual adaptation. Over here, the curriculum comes, and then the teacher will have to adapt the curriculum to the situations. So it's a kind of modified adaptation, the modified adaptation. Here, the curriculum comes and the teacher make the curriculum, adapt the curriculum to the environment. So if there are certain things that the teacher is supposed to teach, but those things the learners cannot make meaning out of it, they look abstract, then the teachers will have to adapt it. Elsewhere, that is some in European countries, the national curriculum, major curriculum is there. But the school curriculum, the teachers decide, or the district education will decide on what goes into what they want to teach. Then the next one is enactment. Enactment occurs fundamentally in the school itself. They determine what to teach. Now let's look at it. Fidelity approach is the extent to which curriculum is delivered in accordance with its tested design. That is the design we have made, we have tested it, and we know that is what works. So like we said, we have tested it on the field. We have implemented it to see that it can work. So the teacher will implement it as it has been tested. In fidelity approach, planning is usually separate and distinct from implementation. Teachers are to implement it as planned with minimum degree of deviation. So teachers, even if they will deviate from what has been planned and handed down to them, that deviation shouldn't be significant. It will be insignificant. Suffice it to say that fidelity of implementation is usually used to deliver programs in centralized education system like Ghana. We have centralized education system. The nation decide, Ministry of Education decide, NACA decides, and that is what we implement. If a program is not delivered as designed, its outcome is likely to be changed, diminished, or eliminated outright. So if NACA comes up with a curriculum and we don't implement the curriculum as planned, then the outcome, what we expect, intended outcome of the curriculum, we may have to change it because we may not be able to achieve it. The outcome may diminish or the outcome may be eliminated outright. So on the other hand, fidelity fails to recognize that there are some unplanned learning outcomes that are desirable. So we want to achieve exactly what we have planned. So fidelity does not take into consideration that sometimes there are some outcomes that we have not clearly stated, but as we implement the curriculum, we may be achieving those outcomes. So we say implement it as it is. Teachers are considered as the implementers of the change, of course. The role of the teacher in the process is that of a consumer who makes use of the wisdom of program developers. So the teacher in this implementation will always accept what has been given to him and he will consume it, just implement it as it is. This approach operates on the assumption that lack of standardization within and between the program providers will inflate error variance, and decrease power. So yes, the assumption is that the whole Ghana, everybody must achieve this standard. And so if you deviate from it, there will be differences. And we don't want that difference because we want everybody, every child in our system to acquire the same knowledge, skills, attitudes. So you don't have to do anything about it. And if we allow you to vary the implementation of the curriculum across the regions or districts, the provider of the curriculum will lose its power. So uniformity of the program and its implementation ensures that students go through the same or about the same experiences. The result of standardization in implementation is the ease with which evaluation can be done to see how different sides of program implementation compare. So we can compare performance of students in Greater Accra region with that of those students in Northern region. And that will be meaningful because they are studying the same content, they are undergoing the same system. Adaptation approach. This approach is also called mutual adaptive or evolutionary approach. And it rests on the assumption that the exact nature of implementation cannot and or should not be pre-specified, but rather should evolve as different groups of users decide what is best and more appropriate for their situation. So different groups, different regions, based on the conditions in the region, may, as they implement the curriculum, may come up that the most appropriate or the best way of implementing it is different from what the curriculum developer has done it. And so we will adapt the curriculum. A centrally developed curriculum may lend itself to manipulation by implementers, right? So its implementation may be flexible to the extent that teachers can alter its implementation to suit their peculiar school or classroom situations. Okay, so not hook, line, sinker like the fidelity approach. Teachers have the liberty here to adapt the change to obtain the highest possible results. Adaptation is operational in the flexible school system. In Ghana, our system is not flexible school system. We have a rigid school system. So implementation by this approach is near impossible. Mutual adaptation appears to grant a measure of deserved respect both to the developers and the implementers of the program, and therefore makes the two groups meet on equal terms. So in this case, the developer is not more important than the implementer of the curriculum because they all have minds of their own and can bring change. Adaptation also is premised on ethical and moral grounds because it permits some self-direction for implementers while recognizing the legitimate role of policy makers in setting educational goals. Yes. So it's also based on ethical and moral grounds in the sense that what you may consider ethical in one area or to some groups may be unethical, and therefore they have to adapt it. Certain content may be unethical to implement in certain cultures. Okay, so the adaptation is important in that regard. So it appears to include enactment. It's here. Okay, so let me talk about assumptions about curriculum knowledge, change, and the role of teacher. Curriculum knowledge, what is it? Curriculum knowledge is thought to reside in the outside expert who develops the curriculum to be adapted by teachers to the local context. So the curriculum knowledge resides with the curriculum developer, NACA and its agent, and they will develop the curriculum. For change, change is seen as a more unpredictable, less linear process at the end of which is an active consumer. This process of change needs to be understood to help explain what happens to the curriculum. So now the developers, their knowledge, they have put it on document, and the change must occur based on the environment, the person who is going to actively consume the curriculum, and the teachers will decide, and that change will happen. So the role of the teacher in the adaptive curriculum in this regard is to shape the curriculum to meet the demands of the local situation. So these are what happen under the adaptation of the curriculum. Curriculum is developed by curriculum experts, and there will be changes due to the peculiarity of the location where the curriculum is going to be implemented. Okay, so the teacher's role in this change is to shape the curriculum to meet the demand of the local situation. So to teachers, the skills, talent, and knowledge necessary to enact a curriculum were context specific. Teachers' active maximum curriculum returns. Teachers achieve maximum curriculum returns by manipulating the conventional curriculum to meet their local needs. And the curriculum students actually receive, the curriculum students actually receive is influenced by what teachers believe, by what peers believe and do, and by other more elusive cultural issues. Additionally, comparing the results of one implementation site with another will not yield any particular useful evidence for decision making. So that is the adaptive curriculum implementation approach. So the teacher has some amount of power to actually decide on what to teach. Enactment approach. Here, this orientation describes how curriculum is shaped through the evolving construct of teachers and students. Enactment approach here is concerned with describing how curriculum is experienced by the participants, as well as how it is shaped as it gets acted. May argues that uniform answers to educational problems are viewed as impossible to apply because practical problems are seen to be context bound, situationally determined, and it is complex. So this curriculum, yes, the country, the entire nation has a framework, curriculum framework, and within the framework, every school district or every school district is supposed to come up with their own curriculum that they will implement. Okay, so it is not by fidelity that you implement exactly as has been given to you, or adoption that you will change the curriculum in a way to suit your locality. But here, teachers play a significant role because the problems of society differ from one area to the other. And so the curriculum, the teachers determine what they should teach, okay, together with students. The interaction between the teachers and the student determine what they should teach based on contextual differences, what they have, issues, the problems that they have. So they teach what is relevant to them. Just as we said when we were talking about curriculum development, we are looking at the society. So if you take a society like Russia, very large, America, very large, China, very large, and you're implementing curriculum for all these big, huge places, it will simply mean that the curriculum may be irrelevant to some areas. So enactment approach is important. So there's a framework, all right, that we look at these areas and that, but the schools, districts decide based on their environment, their society, what content will be relevant to teach, and they develop their own curriculum to be implemented. So specifically, the enactment model asks questions such as, what are the enacted experiences of teachers and students, and how do they create them? What effect do outside factors have on the curriculum as enacted? And then what are the effects on students of the curriculum as actually enacted? So the assumption about curriculum, knowledge, change, and the role of teacher in enactment. So the curriculum knowledge is a personal construct, right? Which must reflect personal and external standard. Okay, so either the school, they are bringing it, personal construct, and it must reflect personal and external standards. So they don't deviate from the external standards that has been set. Okay, but the personal comes in also. Change is a development process for both teacher and student, rather than only change in observable behavior. The role of the teacher here is that of a curriculum developer who grows ever more competent with his or her students in constructing positive educational experiences. So the implementation of the curriculum here, teachers do a lot. Changes, they construct a lot of knowledge as they develop the curriculum. So school curricula are tailor-made to suit conditions in each local, as opposed to the centrally developed one, operational in both the centralized and flexible school systems. The local school curricula are derived from the national philosophy of education. So as I said, there's a framework up there, which is the national philosophy of education is found, and the schools derive their motivation, the content, and everything from there. But the learning experiences are different. Okay. So this opportunity enables teachers to develop effective pedagogies, what the best practice that ensures sustainability, citizenship, enterprise, and globalization of learning experiences to meet the needs of the different areas. Teachers here serve as explorers. They explore, and they do that constantly to perfect their teaching methods and development of curriculum through continuous practice. The involvement of teachers in this exercise ranges from the production of new syllabus and curriculum guides at all stages. So the advantage of their participation is shrouded in the mystery of promulgating their interest and advancing their views on how the curriculum should be. So here teachers have a lot of influence. Curriculum implementation approaches that do not consider teachers' beliefs have a temporary life. Incorporating teacher beliefs is a sure way of inspiring teachers' enthusiasm and winning their trust for the curriculum adoption. Notwithstanding, granting unwarranted liberty to teachers, without any control measure may lead to an abuse of freedom. So in Ghana, we are operating a centralized one. Teachers are given what to teach and they teach. In the new curriculum, teachers were heavily featured. In fact, the new curriculum was developed by teachers. Okay. So if you look at the new curriculum, the books, the material, you will see teachers in the names of teachers who were part, teachers in senior high schools who were part in the development of the curriculum. So if teachers feel their views have been taken into consideration, they will gladly accept the curriculum. Let's look at school systems and curricular decisions. So as we have already talked about, Ghana's system of education is a centralized one. Curricular decisions are made by the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, which is part of GES. Okay. And after completion of its full cycle, summative evaluation is conducted to determine whether to continue or discontinue. So after we have implemented this new curriculum to its full cycle, a decision will be made whether we should continue with the new curriculum or we should vary it. So when they have done that and they have realized that the result is not encouraging, they may decide to modify or replace the curriculum. Then when we are implementing the curriculum in the classroom, the teachers are involved. And some of the questions teachers may ask include, what objectives do I hope to accomplish as a result of instruction? So at the end of my teaching of this particular topic, what objective will I accomplish? What topics or content will I have to cover? So the teacher will ask, what are the topics? Where is the syllabus? What are the topics am I supposed to teach? What teaching methods or strategies should I use to direct learning and achieve the objective? How do I evaluate instruction to determine whether I have successfully achieved the objective? So if you look at it, you see clearly that curriculum decisions are being made here. Question number 1, objective. In the classroom, we talk about objective. We don't talk about goals, aims, objective, classroom. Then we look at the content. The teacher wants to know the content he's supposed to teach. Then the teacher will also find out pedagogical strategy. Here, the new curriculum has given the objective to the teacher. The content is also has been given to the teacher. And even the methods, pedagogical strategies have also been given to the teacher. All of these are found in the learning plan. So when the teacher is planning the learning, he will come across pedagogical strategies that he can use. They are stated in the learning plan to select from. The content is given in the teacher handbook for the subject. The objective is also given in the same book. Then the assessment evaluates instruction to determine whether I have successfully achieved the objective. The assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment will be done by the teacher. Formative, whilst the teaching is going on, or it could be end of semester. Okay. Then we move on for decision making, for improvement. So these are the questions the teacher will ask. And if you look at new curriculum, even summative assessment has been placed there. Formative assessment, most of them are formative assessment. And you are told, accounting teacher, that there should be differentiation in the assessment. Some should cover the depth of knowledge, level 1, some should cover level 2, some should cover level 3. And I believe you know about depth of knowledge. Okay. Are we here?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you have any question or any contribution, you can
Yes,
ask.
please.
Yeah.
I'd like
Yes.
to have a question on the full cycle of a curriculum. Is it 10 years, or maybe it depends on the objectives?
The cycle, you have curriculum for a particular year. So senior high school curriculum is for how many years? Senior high school curriculum is for how many years?
I think 3 years for maybe every set of students.
Yes. So after 3 years, you can evaluate the program to see whether it is achieving its objective or its aim or not. So you don't have to wait for 10 years. But because we have said that at the beginning of the implementation, teachers may still have to learn more. So yes, you can, if 3 years is okay, but if you want to really do proper, maybe you can give it times 2, 6 years. By the time, teachers might have been so well familiar, comfortable, and do that. But under normal circumstance, after the program has run its full course, after 3 years, you can evaluate and see if you should modify it or you should continue with it as it is. Are we okay?
Please, thanks.
My diagrams have not been captured. Okay. So, instructional objectives. Now we are in the classroom. The objective we mentioned, the teacher has to set the objective. The new curriculum It appeared objectives are already stated for the teacher. And that's what the objective is, say, from the teacher's perspective, what he wants to achieve. From the learner's perspective, what do you want learners to be able to exhibit? So that's the learning outcomes. And these are statements indicating what students are expected to know, to understand, to do, and to value at the end of a lesson. So the knowledge they are supposed to acquire, the skills they are supposed to demonstrate, and the value, the attitude, the ethics they are supposed to learn at the end of the lesson. So, for example, if you take accounting and you are teaching accounting equation, the learners at the end of the lesson will get to know that the whole business principle, accounting for business and everything, is based on simple accounting equation. They know the accounting equation. So they will acquire the knowledge to understand that asset equals capital or equity plus liabilities. They know that. That is knowledge. The next is, can they develop the skills to be able to prepare a balance sheet based on that knowledge? So when we teach accounting equation, we normally include balance sheet and we say effect of accounting transaction on the balance sheet. So they will learn the skill given certain conditions, given some basic assets, liabilities, and equity. Then they should be able to prepare or draw up a basic statement of financial position. So that is the skill to prepare that. Then attitude, values. There are values. There are figures we are dealing with. And so if you prepare your balance sheet and it is not balancing, it is unethical to chip in any figure and say that, okay, this is the balance and yes. So develop the value of finding your errors. It is a value. It is an attitude that where you have made mistakes, you need to correct them. Okay, so all these things you consider in the classroom. So the teacher is required to make it clear what change they want students to achieve. At the beginning of the lesson, the learner must know what they'll be expected to know, what they'll be expected to do, and what values, attitudes, and ethics they'll be expected to learn. Okay. Then help in choosing the appropriate learning experiences to achieve the changes or learning desire. So learning experiences, how are you going to go about it? What approach are you going to adopt? What pedagogical strategy are you going to adopt? Don't forget that the learning experiences is made up of the content that you are going to teach and also the pedagogical strategy. The two of them come together to form the pedagogical content knowledge of the teacher. You have the content and you have the pedagogy, the skills. Some people think that the moment they know the content, they can teach a subject. People see teaching to be activity that just require mentioning the content to learners so that learners will grasp it. It goes beyond that. You must acquire the skill in coming up with the best approach for learners to get the knowledge. You may think you have taught, but because you did not provide the right learning experiences, you just mention the thing and then you think the learners have gotten it and then you go. No, you go beyond mentioning it. You have to take them, you have to really find certain activity, different activities. You are teaching a group of students. They have different abilities. Some may understand when you teach individually. You speak to them, they may grasp. Some may have to be taught through collaborative learning. Some may have to discuss with their peers before they get it. So you have to find appropriate methods. So you employ various methods. You don't just employ them for employing sake, but you have to be able to identify as a teacher which methods work best. So if you are teaching accounting equation, you should know what kind of activity will work best. So don't believe that you can just say asset is equal to capital plus liability and that is all. Students have understood. No, they have not understood. They may be able to reproduce what you told them, but they may not understand the meaning. They may not be able to interpret what you meant by that statement. And such thing as the accounting equation is the fundamental. Now, please, I'm teaching. Let me call you back later. Okay. All right. So fundamentally, the learner must grasp the basic concept, accounting equation, very well. If that is not taught well right from the onset, the student may have problem going forward because it is the foundation upon which the rest of the accounting you are going to teach lies. So you choose the appropriate learning experience to achieve the change you want to see change. So the learner will be able to identify the asset is referring to the resources that are controlled by the entity. Okay. So resources under the control of the entity, that is the asset. Liability is equal to liability. So all the assets that the entity is under the control of the entity. The other side of the equation is telling us where did they come from? What are the sources of these assets that are under the control of the entity? So the liabilities are the obligations. So liability is actually an asset under the control of the entity, but does not belong to the entity. So it is an obligation that the entity is supposed to settle. And when he settled it, asset will move out of the entity. So the assets of the business will reduce. The equity is simply the residual interest in the assets of the business after we have taken away all the liabilities. So then it's making sense to them. And then you may have to do workings, activities, give them activities. And as they do the activities, they get the understanding. But if you see it as this is a basic equation, simple equation, let me just tell them, and then they will just keep it, and then we move on. So the teacher will choose the appropriate learning experiences. So if you see a teacher teaching accounting equation using 2 hours or 4 hours, don't say that you have been teaching one thing for a long time. If the student understands accounting equation very well, the rest of the work will not be difficult. So inform students of what is expected of them. We tell them the objective. Then indicate what will be important in assessing the lesson. They also should know the important aspect of the lesson. In planning for instruction, lesson plans are utilized. Now, they say learning plan. So teachers are given learning planner. And when you populate, you fill the rest, teaching and learning activity area and other relevant parts, then it becomes a learning plan to be utilized in the classroom. So the learning plan is an outline prepared in advance of teaching so that time and material will be used efficiently. The following is generic outline for a learning plan, which consists of objectives. So here we normally talk about the learning outcome, the new curriculum, learning outcome, what the learner should be able to do, not what the teacher want to achieve in the classroom per se. They look almost the same, but because you're talking about student-centered, you want it to come from the student perspective. Then prerequisite knowledge. Then that's what we normally refer to as RPK. If you don't have knowledge in certain topics, it will be difficult for you to understand another topic. So there's prerequisite knowledge, which will help the teacher to ensure that it becomes easier for learners to assimilate. Then learning experiences, teaching and learning activities. Instructional aids and resources. We talk about assignments, the assessment that you get, an evaluation task or technique. Implementing a curriculum requires the involvement of many different people. Each is a key player in the change process. What or who are these different people? Let's look at them. Curriculum implementation is influenced by the following: the teacher, the learners, resource, materials, and facilities, interest groups, the school environment, culture and ideology. We have school culture, we have ideology of schools, we have missionary schools, you have Christian schools, Christian mission schools, you have Islamic mission schools, you have schools that are for the state. People call it secular schools. Instructional supervision is very, very important. But Unfortunately, it is something that is not done effectively in our schools. Assessment. These are very, very key if curriculum implementation is very effective. So this is where we will bring our Unit 4 to an end. This is where we'll bring the Unit 4 to an end. Any question at this point? I will send you a document, so remind me later. What we have done so far, comprehensive document, so that if you want to read and read and read, you can read. Okay. So, any question? Are we here?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm not getting any feedback from you. Do we have access to the curriculum, the syllabus?
Please, which one? Senior high
Yes,
school? Or,
yes, senior high school accounting syllabus.
yes, please. Some of us have.
Some of you have it.
Yes, please.
Okay. Is it the new one? The new one that has come?
Yes, please. But probably some of us are teachers. That's why we're able to have access.
Okay, I'm looking for mine, but I can't find. That's why I'm asking you. If you have it on your phone, can you send it to me right now?
Please, sir.
Yes.
Do you mean the teacher manual?
Not the teacher manual. You don't worry, I've seen it.
All right.
Thank you so much. Okay, so the new curriculum that has been implemented in the senior high school started in the 2024-25 academic year. And this curriculum covers SHS1 to SHS3. So for the period, I want to show you the curriculum. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, so accounting curriculum for secondary education. The date is September 2023. It was implemented in, it was supposed to be September 2024, but it came in November. Implementation started in November last year. This curriculum is the official curriculum. I have opened another one. Which one do you see? The old one, right? Do you see the old one?
Yes, please.
Good. So this is the old one that was in the system. Teaching syllabus for financial accounting. This one was for financial accounting only. But the new one is accounting. So it means it's for both financial accounting and principles of cost accounting. Now, if you look at the curriculum, you see the rationale for teaching financial accounting. That's the rationale for the curriculum, rationale for this syllabus. The next thing you see here, the rationale simply tells us the reason behind the teaching of the curriculum. Why? The argument for the teaching of the curriculum. So you can see there's a justification here. They are saying that lack of accounting efficiency has led to irregularities in the financial administration of both public and private institutions in the country. The improvement in accountancy education, besides moral and ethical training, has in a significant way improved the efficiency, improved the efficient operations of the economic sector of the country development in recent years. And it also acknowledges that there has been a rapid increase in the number of institutions as well as general expansion in business activities in Ghana, have also increased the demand for accounting personnel at all levels. This has made accountancy education assume high priority in the human resource development program of the country. Accountancy education leads to improvement. So that's the rationale that they are making here. So let's look at the general aim. We also have general aims of the syllabus. That is the aim. Financial accounting is designed to assist students or learners to appreciate the role of the functions of accounting, recognize the role and function of internal and external financial reports, and so on and so forth. Finally, it says that apply basic accounting principles in modern business using manual, mechanical, and what? Computerized systems. This was never achieved. Or financial statement reporting. That was never achieved in the old curriculum. Then scope of content. You will see the areas, the content. You see the content. The course covers the following. So you can see if you study this content very well, you may see some of the issues we talk about under content, how content should be organized. Do you remember some of the organization style we talked about? One is what? Organization of content. I beg you, don't forget. Some even appear in the quiz. So, yes. Just give me one way of organizing content. Are we there? Or we have run away? I can't hear anyone. No. Give me some feedback. Don't necessarily answer the question. Just give me feedback. Let me see if you are there or I'm speaking to myself.
We did.
You did. Okay. Okay. So at least you should remember chronological. We also talk about sequence, logical sequence. I think we have also talked about spiral or spiral. So for accounting, we don't talk about history. If it is history, we can talk about chronological dates when one event. So for example, in accounting, if you are talking about history of accounting, then we will speak from chronological, from the beginning, next. Okay, but if you look at this one, you can see the logical sequencing. You have to have prerequisite knowledge in one thing before you move to the next. Okay, in that order. So from year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Then we talk about prerequisite skills and allied subject. So you can also see the horizontal organization, right? Allied subject. Horizontal. There are some subjects that relate or have some relationship with financial accounting. And these are the allied subject. So the content is also organized in the horizontal manner. Okay. Where there's relationship among other subjects, even on the same level. We are teaching the same subject in Form 1, and there's relationship. So prerequisite skills. You must have some basic skills in something. So learners who have had some mathematical experiences in GHS, they to analyze. Because mathematics teaches analysis. To be able to analyze situations. You have word problems and so on. All those things require analysis. Even English language, the language itself, you analyze. When you're writing essay or comprehension, you analyze the passage. and then you're able to tease out the answers. Accounting is full of analysis. So if you have been able to analyze in mathematics, you have analyzed or synthesized in English language, then accounting shouldn't be a difficult course for you. Talk about students with aggregate 6 to 8 at the BCE have demonstrated high capability for enrolling in the business program. Maybe that is why some basic school learners run away from business. So tell them aggregate 6 and 8. Not everybody had 6 and 8 to be able to do business. You don't need 6 and 8. With 25, if you really love to learn and you want to sit down, you can excel in accounting. Some of us didn't even make the 6 and 8, but we were able to do it. So teachers, the problem I have seen is that teachers don't encourage learners to do business. And I don't understand why. So maybe you take some time to educate me why you think, why teachers among us, how many teachers we have here at the basic school level, basic school? Yes, you are one. Your name?
Abukari Anthony.
Okay, Abuka Anthony, you are one professional teacher, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other person?
Please, I'm here.
Your name?
Daniel Mintinyakun.
Okay. Any other?
Please, I'm also here.
Your name?
Prince Boache.
What? Daniel Boachi? Prince, yeah. Prince Boachi. Okay. Our ladies.
I'm also here.
Is it Madam Rita?
No, Juliana.
Juliana. Okay. So Rita, you're not a teacher, eh? Oh, Rita has run away. She's not here. Okay. So you can.
I'm here, dog.
Are you a teacher or you are not a teacher?
I'm a teacher.
Okay. Basic school.
Yes, please.
So yes. Then Rita, let me start from you. Why do you advise the learners not to study business?
I don't advise them not to do business.
So how come that all the learners are doing general art and they are running away from business?
I wonder why, because me myself, I'm a business student. I wonder why.
Are you at the GHS?
No, please, at the primary.
Okay. Madam Juliana, any idea?
Yes, it's because some of them, the maths, okay, from the basic, no, I think that sometimes it tells them to pick that course.
Okay, so it is the fear for mathematics.
Mathematics, yeah.
I see.
Sir
yes, Prince.
Yes, it's
because of mathematics.
Yeah, me for instance, I'm a math teacher, and I've been encouraging them to learn how so that when they get to it, they can do business. And some of them said math is difficult, so because they have heard that business is full of math.
Oh,
so they can do it.
And that is a misconception, or?
Yes, I've been explaining to them. Like this year, my bag is they're completed. None of them chooses business. All of them general art general art, and home econs,
Wow.
and technical.
Wow. Wow. And do you think there's
But
more mass in accounting than in technical? Eh?
that's what they thought.
So then they have to be they have to be reoriented because some of us are not mathematically inclined, but accounting is not mathematics. Accounting is not mathematics at all.
And
Even though you
nowadays,
are dealing with figures.
yeah, and nowadays
Hello,
too,
Doc.
the social media is trying to brainwash the kids because they said when you do business after school, you wouldn't have you will not be useful to yourself because there's no work there for you to do. So that's the main reason
Wow.
why. That's the main reason why the kids are not pursuing business accesses. Yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
But for the general
Because
today, there's work for them to do.
yes, that's what they said. And even the trend nowadays, majority of the students are doing visual arts.
Oh yes, yes, that's true.
Visual arts. So that's why the learners in accounting are depreciating every year.
Yeah, that's true.
Even
Someone wanted to speak.
Yes, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please. Some time ago, government limited opportunities for business students, especially those who want to study business and go and read nursing and also go to the training college. So that discouraged most of the students. They had that mindset that that's what persists still, but there have been changes now. So the right information must get to the right people. And also, the collapse of the banks has also discouraged some of the students. They say when they complete, they can't get what to do. So there are a lot of factors that have to be.
Okay, so fundamentally, yeah, that's quite unfortunate, but that is what is happening. And if we don't really speak to our younger, brothers and sisters and children, the business courses will really suffer. And it will not be the business courses that will suffer, but the entire nation will suffer because as I speak, most of my students at the university are general students doing management, doing human resource management, doing procurement, supply chain, doing marketing, doing entrepreneurship. Most of these students are general students. They know nothing about accounting. Meanwhile, they are supposed to study accounting and they are supposed to understand accounting. In fact, I don't see the work. Which work can you mention offhand that if you do general art automatically, they are in the system and so they can fit there? Which work? Can we identify any work that you can say if you study general arts, what are the university courses for the art students? University programs, history. So look at the economy. Do you get graduates saying, "Oh, I've got a job at a history, I'm going to do a history somewhere"? Geography, is it common in the system? Do people employ geographers? Do we get them easily? Government, political science. What work are they doing? Political science and all those. What work are they doing? What other areas can we talk about? Ghanaian language, Twi. What work are they doing? religion, what work are they doing? But you can see that business almost everywhere, every community, you get people doing business related work almost everywhere. So we shouldn't allow them to be to think that business is something that is so difficult that they cannot do. So they want something they can easily do. But why would you even think that way? That I want something that is easier, easy life, so that I can easily go through. So we have to talk to them so that because with the introduction of free SHS, number of students in the senior school have increased so much, but the demand for accounting teachers has not increased in response to that. Why? Because the learners don't want to study business. And so at the university, general students are those doing business. And that is not the best. Majority of them don't perform. Okay. And I think we have to, the whole nation itself has to do something about that situation. But the universities also want money, so they can't stop general students from doing business. Those days, if you do business at the university, you don't do accounting or business, you will get opportunity. UCC will never give you the opportunity. But now they have given the opportunity because they also want money. And some non-business students do business. I mean, those ones that they call it is reading, marketing, business management, they do well apart from maybe the accounting, so they accept them. But that's not the best. Okay. All right. So this is the old syllabus. Let me just run through this with you, and then we go to the new one and we see something. So this is you. Let me start from the beginning so that you see what we expected. So Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. In Form 1, Nature and Functions of Accounting, Section 2, the accounting equation and the double entry principle. Then you move to the books of accounts. Then we move to accounting for tax or for value added tax. Still year 1. You have accounting concepts and policies. Then third term in Form 1, final account of sole proprietorship. Talk about further adjustment, provisions and reserves. Okay, then you are done with Form 1, provisions and reserves, further adjustments, provisions and reserves. So this is where you treat depreciation. We look at provisions, look at reserves, bad debt and provision for doubtful debt and bad debt. The final account of sole proprietorship comes before that. So there will be no need to teach adjustment before coming to chief financial final account. You need to teach final account before you come to that. So when they go to Form 2, they were supposed to do correction of errors and suspense account, bank reconciliation statement, bank recon, then self-balancing ledgers, what referred to as control account. Then they will do single entry and incomplete records, accounting for clubs and societies, and for profit-making organizations, accounting for manufacturing concerns, manufacturing account, departmental, and then branch account. Departmental and branch account. Then you come to Form 3, they do partnership. So by Form 3, they are doing partnership. Then they do company account, public sector accounting, information technology in accounting. Then they write WASI in May and then go home. So over here, West Africa Senior Certificate Examination will be written. So it is not even up to full 3 years, right?
Yes.
It's not up to full 3 years. Is that not the case? So by term 2, Form 3 term 2, second term, then they will be writing and will be leaving. Okay, second term. Second term, they do just 2 topics and then they go instead of 3 topics. So you see that it's not up to 3 years. It's not complete 3-year course. It is 2.5-year course. Okay. So after the content, then suggestion for teaching the syllabus. They have suggested how to go about it. General objective. Then you have sessions and units. So unit is the main. Now the unit, what do they call it? Substrand. Is that what you call the unit now? Those of you in basic school, tell us. Substrands, right? Or
Yes.
Yes.
substrands. Okay. Then you come to specific objectives. What do you call the specific objectives now? Learning outcomes, right? And then teaching and learning activities. So at the teaching and learning activities level, then evaluation, assessment issues. Then a description of the content of each column is as follows. So column 1, you have the unit. Column 2, specific objective. Column 3, content. 4, teacher learning activities. Then evaluation. So evaluation can be in the form of what? It's a form of oral question, quizzes, assignment, homework, project work. Ask questions and set task and assignment. Okay. Then the profile dimension. So if you look at here, the profile dimension 50-50, knowledge and understanding, which is the theory aspect, 50%, application of knowledge, application 50%. Then when you come here, you have the knowledge and understanding based on Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy. So knowledge, understanding. Knowledge is about recall, right? So you can see some action words, action verbs here. Remember, recall, identify. These are off-head. So if you're a teacher and you all you do is list, state, define. This is the lowest level of learning. Lowest level of cognitive ability. Okay. Understanding the second lowest. So those made up the theory aspect, mostly explain, summarize, translate, rewrite, paraphrase, give examples, journalize, estimate. All these are lower level cognitive abilities. When you come to the application of knowledge, then we can talk about the first one is the application. apply rules, methods, principles. So based on certain principles, do this, do that, demonstrate. Okay, draw up an account. To draw up an account is mere application, right? Then analysis, to be able to break down material into 8 component parts, to differentiate, compare, distinguish, outline, separate, identify significant point, then you analyze it. Accounting, you do a lot of analysis. And analysis has to do with getting basic logic right, understanding just basic issues and how to break issues into different parts. That is the analysis aspect. Then we talk about innovative creativity. Put part together. We call it synthesis. To synthesize. Okay. So if you have a whole item and you break it into pieces, you're analyzing it. Okay, you have a car, then you are breaking the door, the lights, the engine, the body into parts and letting us know what they are. You tell us about part of it, then you are analyzing the car. But if you have spare parts and you are putting them together to form a car, then you are synthesizing. So you are putting parts together to form a whole item. And it involves the ability to synthesize, combine. Okay, so in accounting, we do a lot of analysis. And then, especially even when you come to the financial statement itself, we can analyze it. We use the ratio analysis to do a lot of analysis to break the part. If you are taking trial balance, then you are preparing financial statement, then you are synthesizing. Okay, you are putting parts together to form a new something. Then evaluation, you are determining the worth of something, whether something is of value or you are making judgment about something. And that one, you need to compare, contrast, and then you draw conclusions. Okay, so that is evaluation. So these are the forms of assessment. So you can see the profile dimension, understanding 30, then school-based assessment. That is what the GES wanted teachers to do. WAEC examination structure at the WASI. Most teachers didn't pay attention to some of these things, but that is guideline for school-based assessment, which is also here. Many people said the school-based assessment was never included in the WASI. Okay, so there was opportunity for project or field work. These are tasks assigned to students to be completed over an extended time. But you see, they were not stated as to when it should happen. And this will involve the following: practical work, case study, investigative study, and those midterm tests. They're also here, group exercise, end of term examination, okay, and so on and so forth. Then you come to the main, syllabus, the content, objective, these things were mentioned earlier, and what you need to look at. All right. Now let's look at the new one. And if you look at the new one under the same ministry, accounting curriculum for secondary education. It has been done in a nice book form, and it's talking about strands. So now the new curriculum, if you look at it, what do you see? You see here one strand. What was a subject? Business management, managing business and the legal framework of business. Strand 1. global business. You can see these are business management issues. Then year 2, they do managing business and legal, the same strand 1. We have some topics under the sub-strands for that. Then global business. Okay, let me go down here. So you can see that here, you see business management here, right? Business management issues. Then the SHS curriculum overview. It talks about a lot of things. This one contained a lot as compared with the first one we looked at. If you look at this one, the introduction, you see the philosophy of senior high school curriculum. So this is the philosophy, educational philosophy that underpins the senior high school curriculum. The philosophy underpinning the SHS curriculum is that every learner can develop their potential to the fullest if the right environment is created and skilled teachers effectively support them to benefit from the subject offered at SHS. Every learner needs to be equipped with skills and competencies of interest to further their education, live a responsible adult life, or proceed to the world of work. This is the philosophy. Okay. And which of the philosophies do you see in this? You can see, what do you see? Do you see any philosophy here? Just mention one philosophy you see here. Do you see anything? You don't see any philosophy playing out here? Look at it carefully. It says that learners can develop their potential to the fullest if the right environment. What philosophy do you see there?
So they talk about the main how the learner can think to do things on his or her own.
So what philosophy do you see here? Philosophy. We've talked about philosophies.
Critical thinking.
Philosophies of education that we have discussed. You have forgotten them, eh? Have you forgotten the philosophies
No,
that we have
doc.
discussed here?
No.
Yes.
Now that
So
my man
you
has you over there.
yes, come again.
I said now that my man has tuned over there. Okay, let me see.
So you tell us something. What do you think? This description here, what philosophy would it fit?
Okay.
So first, at the senior high school level, students make choice, right? Do they make choice as to what they want to study?
Yes, please.
Yes, they make choice. Which of the philosophies give learners the autonomy to make choice? What they want? Okay, let's move on there. Okay, so vision of senior high school is also here. We have the vision and you see a lot of things playing out here. Then the cross-cutting issues. Goal of senior high school curriculum. The goal of the curriculum is to achieve relevant and quality SHS through the integration of what? 21st century skills and competencies as set out in the secondary education policy. The key features to integrate into the curriculum are foundational knowledge, competencies. So foundational knowledge, here we are talking about literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy, information, communication. Competencies, critical thinking and problem solving, innovation and creativity, collaboration and communication. Character qualities, discipline, integrity, self-directed learning, self-confidence, adaptability, resourcefulness, leadership, and responsible citizenship. So the JHS curriculum has been designed to ensure that learners are adequately equipped to transition seamlessly into SHS, where they will be equipped with the relevant knowledge, skills, and competencies. The SHS curriculum emphasizes character building, acquisition of 21st century skills and competencies, and nurturing core values within an environment of quality education to ensure the transition to future further study, the world of work, and adult life. This requires the delivery of robust secondary education that meet the varied learning needs of the youth in where? Of the youth in Ghana. So as you can see, society, when we're talking about curriculum, first, it is to the society, and that is Ghana. The SHS curriculum, therefore, seeks to develop learners to become technologically inclined. So technologically inclined is very important here. Scientifically literate, good problem solvers who can think critically and creatively. Okay, so these are other cross-cutting issues. Let me talk about this one here. So responsible citizenship with the intent of achieving the sustainable development goal for inclusive, equitable, quality education and lifelong learning for all. The goal 4 of the SDG, that is what it states. And the new curriculum intends to provide that education which will help us to achieve this goal: inclusive, equitable, quality education and lifelong learning for all. The following sessions elaborate on the critical competencies required of every SHS learner. Every SHS learner. Gender equality and social inclusion is one. Gender equality and social inclusion. Remember, we were talking about the culture, the traditions. How do teachers go about to ensure that there is gender equality and social inclusion? What work you give to girls, you can give the same work to boys to do. So the girls can also be carrying the dexters. The girls can also be mounting the canopies for programs here and there and be doing the macho work. So that's the culture, our tradition. Okay, then 21st century skills and competencies have also been listed. Critical thinking, and so on and so forth. Creativity, collaboration, ability to learn from others. Accounting, we can apply that, and so on and so forth. So these are a whole lot of issues which are embedded in the teaching and learning of curriculum in the classroom or in the schools. So you cannot teach without factoring in these things that I've been mentioning. So the teacher must be well equipped to be conscious of all of these. Okay, all of these, quite voluminous. If you look here, the Bloom taxonomy, which was later broken down, the 6th hierarchical level of the revised Bloom taxonomy. So now you remember the first one, it was the old Bloom taxonomy that they used. Do you remember? Just remember what name was given to the old curriculum.
Knowledge. Oh.
Thank you. Knowledge. And here, understanding. The Bloom taxonomy, old one, it is comprehension. Okay. The old one, comprehension. Apply is here. Analyze is here. Evaluate and create. They are all here. This is the new Bloom taxonomy. But then these are also further broken down into four components. There's another, yes. So this is the four levels of Webb's depth of knowledge assessment framework are. So now they have moved from Bloom taxonomy, the one that we use, even though they work hand in hand, but the one teachers are supposed to use in the classroom is the depth of knowledge assessment. Okay, so that one, level one, is recall and reproduction, which is just like the knowledge. 2, skills of conceptual understanding. 3, strategic reasoning. 4, extended critical thinking and reasoning. Okay, so when you come here, Webb's depth of knowledge, depth, D-E-P-T-H, right? Depth, going deep, like deep. Depth of knowledge is what assessment is based on in senior school. So you see in the learning planner, the depth of knowledge levels have been given. So some questions is for some students in the classroom. So you don't give student assessment, all of them are depth of knowledge level 1. Or you give all of them depth of level knowledge 4. Some are high ability students than others. So for starters, you must give them lower level and then upgrade it to the next. So we were talking about objective. Now there are so many terms in the curriculum now. Learning outcomes. It's a statement that defines the knowledge, skills, and abilities that learners should possess. You see, it is not what teachers should achieve in the classroom, but what learners should possess and be able to demonstrate after completing a learning experience. They are specific, measurable, attainable, aligned with the content standards of the curriculum. So specific, measurable, attainable, and aligned. In whose perspective? Learner's perspective. Learners are supposed to achieve it, and the teacher should be able to measure it. It should be attainable by the learners. Okay. All right. Learning indicators. They are measures that allow teachers to observe progress in the development of capacities and skills. They provide a simple and reliable means to evaluate the quality and efficacy of teaching practices, content delivery, and attainment of learning outcome. So the learning indicators are what we can see the learners do, activities that we can observe and see that, oh, learners are able, they are doing this, they are showing their skills, they are showing their capacities in doing this. for us to say that, okay, progress is taking place. Content standards, statement that define the knowledge, skills, and understanding that learners are expected to learn in a particular subject area. So the subject area or the topic focal area, we write content standard for that. Pedagogical examples are the pedagogical strategies that you use, okay, together with the content to arrive at the learning outcome. So philosophy, vision, and goal of accounting. Now you come to accounting proper. Initial, this is the general, the one we have looked at is the general issues. And just as we saw in the first one started with rationale, right? But this one started, the accounting start with philosophy. So here you can see another philosophy playing out here. Okay, all right. How many of us have this material? Who has this material? The new curriculum. So you can see those who developed the accounting curriculum. You can see their names. Avole Baba Albert, see, Bolgatanga Senior High School. Bernard Adubao, West Africa Examination Council. Emmanuel Kojo Atta, ICAG. Victoria Osei Nimaku, SDA Senior High School, Achim Sechere. So senior high school, 2 senior high school teachers are part. Wayek person 1, Bolgatanga 1. Yes, and ICA, Professional Accounting Body, Regulators of Accounting Profession in Ghana. The NACA, see those. Professor Q Kwating, Professor Edward Apia, he was the former director. Mr. Matthew Wusu, Reginald Korte, Joanna Vanderpoy, Anita Rebecca Bu, Gariba, Genevieve Veronica Odum, Joachim Seram Honu, Mercy Nyameche, Uria Otu Abigail Brago Wusu. So NACA, these were the people who represented NACA. Okay. So year 1, first year, there are how many? Conceptual framework, 1. Content standards, 1. Learning outcome, 1. Learning indicators, 4. Then you go to year 2, financial data analysis. You have it here, financial reporting. Then when you come here, cost accounting is also featured here. So if you look at the financial accounting, remember the first one, the old one, we saw that there were so many units, 2 years, 2.5 years. Now, cost accounting was also a subject on its own, which was also doing 2.5 years. Now we have brought the two together, cost accounting and financial accounting coming together to form accounting. Okay, so in total, you are going to have content standards 22, learning outcomes 22, learning indicators 71, learning indicators. So let's look at how it has been organized quickly. Both financial accounting and cost accounting together. Financial accounting conceptual framework. So year 1, financial accounting. Meanwhile, this thing is taught Okay, let's see. It appears scanty. The content appears scanty here. It is not in depth. So financial accounting and cost accounting together. Okay, so you remember for year one, you remember that in year one for financial accounting, the learners were supposed to use cost accounting. Let's look at the financial accounting. The old curriculum you see, so year one, you can see that the old curriculum, we were talking about further adjustment, including adjustments like accruals, prepayment, depreciation, bad debt. I hope you remember that. At the end of year one, in the old curriculum, you were supposed to get to this place. And year one in the new curriculum, they are still supposed to get to the same content. Okay. Meanwhile, they are doing this one and the costing also as one subject. So if you look at it, you will see clearly that it's likely they will not be going into details like that. They may not go into details like that. Okay. They have even added something more. Some management accounting things are also here. Compute relevant cost to make decision on make or buy special order. All right. So here, a lot of things are involved here in this one, and it will take time to teach this. So I don't know how many weeks they have allocated for this. Okay, today I plan to go through the syllabus with you, but if you don't have the syllabus, I will send it to you. Okay. Remind me, Della, so that I will send it to you to go through, because that's what you will teach, and you need to address yourself what is happening. Those in senior high school, they have gone through most of these things, they understand them, and so if you go there, you must equally understand. Because last week we weren't able to do the implementation, that's why we did that. But focus on what you have done from unit 1 to unit 4 more, because this one I just ran through with you, even though I'll give it to you, but we can just link some few things in accounting into what you have already done. So please read wide, and I wish you all the best. I'm not sure we will be meeting again until you write your quiz and exams. Okay. Any comments? Any question before we sign off? I'm not hearing anything. No. Are you here?
We are
Yes,
here.
please. We are here.
Okay. So we are ending the lecture today.
Hello, sir.
If you have any question, yes, go ahead.
Please, I don't have questions, but I want a small appeal that maybe we should have met. We should have met at least once. Hello.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I wanted to say that maybe when we are doing the additional 4 courses, please can you try for us so that at least we will be able to meet face to face once?
Oh, face to face is not part
Will
of
it be
my
possible?
arrangement. And I'm saying that
Okay.
face to face is not part of my arrangement. It's because of your number. Okay. You are not many. That is why this course is done online. So this is strictly by online. So face to face will not be possible. You mean why do you meet at any place? You are doing all the courses online, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
All the courses are online. Yes. Maybe your quizzes. Where will you write your quiz and exams?
At our center.
Okay. Okay. I've never gone to any campus. So do you have separate centers?
Yes, please.
And they will
Yes,
bring the
please.
questions to you at your center, then you write it. So you
Yes,
see more with
online.
so look at the arrangement. There's no way we can do face to face. You yourself, you will not meet your colleague. You will not get to meet any of your colleagues maybe until you finish school.
Okay.
So face to face is out. But I don't really know why any particular reason for wanting face to face. We are done with what we have to do. What we have done is enough for you to write your exams and pass well. So this is where we do.
So, Doc, please.
Yes.
How many units are we to cover now?
You cover up to unit 4. Do up to unit 4.
Okay, 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Because this one we haven't. I wanted to do this with you today, but we couldn't finish last week. So you leave this one out, but I'll send you the document. Just read to know the syllabus or the curriculum for accounting for the new curriculum. Okay. So we will not be, yes.
Thank you.
Is someone speaking? Okay. So I wish you all the best in your quizzes and your exams. This is where I sign off.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your Sunday evening and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Wish you same.